Well, a very warm welcome to today's workshop conversation. Often when people have been preparing or planning a wedding and there's a bachelor's party coming up, friends will ask the question, what kind of gift can I give my friend? And sometimes, even here at DBC, people have given toolkits to their friend. And I know that when Caitlin was starting to put together some thoughts and ideas about her own little flat, and Heidi and I gave her some of the basic tools that she would need either in her classroom or even in her flat. And people have sometimes asked me, what does one put into that toolkit? And what are the most important tools that you can put into the toolkit? Well, obviously a set of spanners is always a good idea. You can use these at different times for different things. You can use them on your car to take off the leads on your battery, for instance, or you can use them in the workshop, you can use them in your home. A lovely pair of pliers. You can see these have worked hard over the years, they've done a lot of work, but a great and good pair of pliers is always helpful. A hammer, even though hammers aren't necessarily used as often as what they are today, and perhaps a screwdriver or even a cordless screwdriver that you can put into there if you've got a bit more money to be able to spend. And then obviously one of the things that is so important is a tape measure, because you'll always be measuring something, and a tape measure is one of those tools that I've often found over the years I have to go hunting for in the house, because somebody in my family has taken my tape measure and used it for something else. And in Caitlin's art, she often used my rulers, my steel rulers, and these were always very useful and are always very useful. And there's an old adage in woodworking that says when you're building a piece of furniture, when you are trying to make something that's intricate and beautiful, measure twice and cut once. And the reason for that is to realize and to recognize that we will sometimes make mistakes. And I know that behind me on my wood pile at the back here, there are many pieces of wood that are lying there that I was either in a hurry or didn't take the necessary time to spend measuring properly and checking my measurements. And now as a result of that, I made the incorrect cut and I had to throw the piece of wood out. Now I'm hoping that someday I'll be able to use that piece of wood for something else. But it's so important when we are using valuable wood where we have only been able to buy a specific piece of wood to measure twice and to cut once to make sure that what we're doing is correct. And another way that we can do that is to practice and practice and practice. And if we have a very delicate cut that we need to make, or there's a joint that we have to make, before we kind of dive into it wholeheartedly and fully, we spend some time practicing that on a piece of old wood or a piece of junk that we can then throw away afterwards. And to remember this thing of practice, practice, practice. We know that this is so important in so many areas of life. If you're a cricketer and you go to the cricket nets and you practice, 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 and some people may have all the skills that they need not to have to do that, but those who have really done well and who have achieved in their field have been people who have really spent time practicing. I know that the Bible speaks about this in many respects where, for instance, in Romans chapter 8, it tells us to practice hospitality. It's like do it and keep on doing it and keep on doing it and get better at it. And we are to practice the spiritual disciplines of prayer and of meditation and of reading the Bible and of being able to give of our time and our energy, and to be able to do that repeatedly, that we are to practice righteousness, that we are to live rightly before God. And so today, just in terms of what would you put into the toolbox of your life, and what would you put into that toolbox that you would perhaps give? We've remembered things like the hammer and the screwdriver and then again just the tape measure, that old adage of measuring twice and cutting once, of practicing, of doing something over and over and over again until we get it right. Not everything will come first time, and we know that, and we understand that principle very well. And so much so in woodworking and also in life. It's so important for us to practice that which we are doing and to do it well. God bless, and thank you for joining this afternoon or today.